If you are looking to work in entertainment or are working in entertainment, and for example, filmmaking or television production, live shows, theater, events, festivals, video games, VFX, those are the family that I call part of the entertainment. And managing a project in these environments are presenting different challenges that you will not encounter necessarily in the same way in the traditional sectors such as manufacturing, construction, IT, continuous improvement, supply chain, for example. Those will be what usually any training in project management will prepare you for to deliver in these areas. And we would call that the definite content world. Now, don't know what it means. I'll explain later in the video what it means. We work in the creative content world, and the creative content world has got some challenges definitely that requires you to be aware if you want to be able to be a functional project manager or producer, because producers are project manager also in the entertainment sector. However, so in order for you to prepare you for this difference in terms of the world, so let's say you're a project manager and working in IT, and so I'd like to work in entertainment. Well, there is a lot of similarities, but there's also some difference. This video, I will try to focus the key fundamental, that creates these differences, so you understand where they come from and what challenge that brings to you in this video. But also, we have prepared a full training called Project Management for Entertainment Professionals that prepare people to work in this environment versus other trainings that are more fundamental to prepare to work in construction or other field. In order to just give you an idea of this training, I'm just going to open up a bracket and then we'll get into what makes the difference between the traditional sectors and the entertainment sector, or the definite content versus the creative content. So let's get into, just to give you an idea, in order to guide you into the skill set that you're going to need to have to acquire to work in entertainment, as a project manager. We have prepared here a blueprint of all the skill sets that you need. So it's breakdown in terms of skills, sub-skills. Where do they fit in the life cycle of a creation? The level of difficulties to acquire these skills. Is it something that you could acquire very quick just by, reading it and understanding it? And we allow you here to track your progress versus this. Where are you? So, for example, I'm here and I have completed this one. I could put in progress. So that helps you when you are in a situation, for example, you're doing your course and you're going to stop this week because I have 2-3 things to do and I'm going to come back 3 weeks later. Why am I? Well, at least you know where you are going, and if you have completed or no. Is there a fact sheet? A fact sheet is a summary of the whole module itself that you've seen that summarizes all the skill sets. So it's pretty good after the course. If you want to refer, I've seen that in the course. I don't want to see the whole course. I could refer to the fact sheet that will pretty much give me the biggest element of this module. Is there a template that goes with this? Because a lot of the time we need templates to get us where we want to go. Is there a video? In all of them, there is a video that explains you what to do. But also, is there a video on how to? Because it's one thing to say, this is what you need to do for a schedule, but how do I do it? So just to give you an idea of the kind of content that you will see in our course, you will see, for example, a video that will talk, this is the model, this is how it's, the theory about that one. But also you will be able to see the content. So for example, how do I develop a schedule? It's one thing to say, you need to list your activities, sequence them, but how do I do that? Step by step. And we will do that in the course. We will build the schedule step by step. You could see on one side, you got the steps here, and then we're building it and following the steps. So by the time you're done, you not only know about, the time management and schedule, but you know how to construct the schedule, which is fundamental. So this course got everything in it. It's got fact sheets, got quiz. If you want to go for the actual PMP certification, it's not an exam preparation course. However, give you the fundamental understanding of the theory, and then you could prepare the exam and get yourself certified by PMI. Now, let's talk about the world of entertainment. Why is that different? And why do you need to be prepared? And why is there sometimes we got project managers that are coming very competent in one field? They have been working with a company, they've been doing consulting, they're very good at project management in different organizations. We bring them in entertainment, and it's a big mess, okay? Why? Because there is certain fundamental that you need to recognize, and you will need to adapt. So here's, the fundamental difference that you will encounter, and that will help you to get yourself ready in that mindset if you decide, I want to join and participate in that movie, or I want to do this show, or I want to be able to work in the video games. So let's separate the difference between definite content and creative content. Start with definite content. That's the one that a lot of people get their training. I would say 80% and maybe more percentage, I don't have the exact statistic, of project management course are focused on preparing you for definite content world. Okay, and the definite content world is content that is possible to define in the planning phase. So that means you will have, let's say you're doing a construction, you will have drawings, you will have engineering done before you move into the construction. And your goal is to, comply to this drawing and these requirements that have been set, the specification, if you're developing a product, to comply at the end, this is what you need to produce, okay? And it's compliance to what we have defined as the product. Any change we want to do versus this, specification or drawings need to be processed. Why? Because, it will have an impact. If I'm building, a theater, and now I decide, the column's not, it's not nice, it's blocking the view, so let's move the column. Well, that's a big change that needs to be processed. We have to go back to the drawing, recalculate structures. I bring back the engineer, look at, it's a big change. A change in the definite content will have to have a change order. We will have to process that, assess the impact, and decide, do we want to go ahead? And usually there will be impact on time or cost. And those are the kind of things we expect. And that's what majority of our project managers are trained, is to train to deal this way if they're working in a traditional project management world. I'll explain a little bit also the agile in a few minutes. So, example in the different content, you will have construction, manufacturing, IT, process, quality improvement, customer service. There's many supply chain type of project, procurement type of project. This is definite content. Usually, you have something that defines the product that you want or the process that you want to put in place, and we need to comply. Any change versus that needs to be addressed with a change order once we are in execution. However, in the creative content world, when we're working with creative teams, the whole aspect of change is part of the process. Let's say I'm doing a show, okay? And we will create the show and as we go. And of course, we will have design of the stage, design of the costume, design of the lighting, design of, composition of the music, and also the act and everything. It will be planned. Everything's going to be planned. However, we will not necessarily be compliant to everything we have established at the beginning. Why? Because we are putting the show together. We would go by iteration, which is looking more like an agile approach. We'll see later what it means. And this iteration, we will sit there, look at what we have, and we'll do a full rehearsal of the show. And let's say we have only a few costume and few music and a little bit of lighting and a whole bit. We'll take a look at that, take some notes, make some change, and say, costume doesn't look the same as, we had expected. So change the costume, change this. And there'll be a lot of change in order to fit the vision of the creator. And the creator of the vision of the creator might change as we process. Okay. Also, new ideas might come on board. What about if we do this? What about if we will have 2-3 extra in the back? And there will be that happening all the time. And that's the reality that you are. And you cannot process a change order for every one of these things. You're going to go nuts. Plus, people are not going to take that, right? So again, that's our reality. We have to go there. We got to be a lot more flexible to react. But at the same time, when we build a budget, these change. They also cost money and takes time. So we need to make sure that we understand that we're going to need a little bit more contingencies to deal with the reality, which is coming from subjective criteria on the quality. So that's why one of the key area that we need to look when we build a project plan in the creative content will be the quality management plan. And you might say, well, quality management plan is compliance to the spec and standard. Yes, in definite content. In creative content, we still have compliance to spec and standards. So for example, if I take a costume will have specifications such as the weight of the costume, the stretching of the costume, the size of the costume, the compliance with flame retardant, and the whole bit. Those will be check and test and validate. Same as definite content. However, they are very important subjective criteria. And subjective criteria depends on the decision, for example, of an artistic director, creation director, somebody that is the creation that will look at it and say, I like it, I don't like it, it's comfortable, it's not comfortable. Again, those are not criteria. You cannot test and check and whatever. It's decision, based on their vision and they want to do. Is it closer? And these subjective criteria, they could bite you very bad in the creative content world if you do not, plan carefully a quality assurance plan to address anything that is subjective on your creative content project. Okay, and that's why sometimes people would come from the definite content. They will put a quality plan that is purely compliance, and they get surprised because boom, all the subjective criteria, they haven't prepared for that, and now they get boom. Now director doesn't like scrap this. Let's do this. And I'm like, whoa, I don't have the budget. I don't have the time. And then it's a big nightmare. So that's why, for example, this is an example of a project management plan where you're going to have to focus quite a bit on your quality assurance there. But also, you have to be aware of the environment. Let's talk about the definite content environment. In the definite content environment, you will have, people, going into the triangle. If you're looking at the bottom left, you will have the human capital. And that's what we're going to be building team. Let's say you are a company that develop products. You might have a bunch of engineers. You will be focusing on the level of education of these engineers. We're looking for engineers that are graduate at university, bachelor degree, master degrees. We're looking at specialization, some of them electrical, mechanical, industrial, and the level of expertise. Are they expert, newbie? So we'll try to standardize the level of the people and the homogeneity of these people, so we have a good understanding of the practice we want to work with and the tools and techniques we want to work with, which is bringing us to the organization that you need to put in place to make it work. You will hear about best practice. You will hear about tools and techniques. Software, for example, will be important. Templates will be important. All of these tools that we're putting will be important for these people so they understand the process, the life cycle. What are the decisions? How do we work with the governance? What are the phase, the deliverables we have to meet? What document do I need to do? What templates do I need to fill? So you will have to organize the environment very much around practice, tool and technique, and process. So these human capital that you have acquired could be working their project, and the production usually will use some traditional type of project management, such as a gate process, waterfall, prints. There's a different one, which is a series of phases you're going through, and a decision at the end of each phase. Do we go to the next phase, and the whole bit. There is also other approach, such as agile. We'll talk to this in a minute. So, but that's the definite environment. If you've been trained in companies that are building airplanes, that are building products, or that are constructing, you probably working in an environment like this. Now, the creative content environment is quite different. We're not talking about human capital. We're talking about creative capital. And in the creative capital, what is the big difference? Is we're looking at talent. We don't care about the school. Where did you go to school? Maybe a question we're going to ask, but that's not important. Is what is it that you bring to the table? What are your talents you're bringing to us? Okay. Diversity will be important too. Why? Because the multicultural aspect of having people from different views, different background, different culture looking at the same situation will bring you different aspect and potentially allow you to find some very creative ideas that you would never see if you have all the people from the same culture. And the bohemian spirit is really much encouraged. People that are not necessarily traditionally following the rules. Okay, those also are people that you want to have on board because they're your game changer. They're your one that have a crazy idea, but that crazy idea makes a big difference in the overall results of the creation that you're trying to put together. So again, that will be the type of people you'll be hiring on the creative content side, and therefore their environment is not based on best practice and tools and techniques. Definitely, their environment is based on entrepreneurship. What I mean by that, they want to be part of the team as an important member, working as it is a small business. And that's the environment you need to create with them. Okay, they're part of a small business. It's their business, and they're making decisions and they're working as a team in their own business. A lot of them will come. They're already an entrepreneur. They might be a solo entrepreneur. They might have a small business of doing props or artistic design or something like that. So they're already working in this mode and they want to continue like this. They're not your corporate type of people. Let's put it this way. Social technology, they don't care about the big tools and the big fancy ways of, the process. If they could find a tools online that could do the job, well, let's go with that, right? And they will adopt something that is simple but gets the job done very quick. And of course, they will be cost conscious on this one. And authenticity, they want to know. People in creative content, they want to know, and you're going to have to be transparent, okay? If they want to know something, you don't want to talk too much about this, oh yeah, you don't have to worry about it. No, I want to understand, okay? I want to know why the technical guys cannot do this, okay? So you could understand now you have two different environments, the creative content environment and the definite content environment. Now, if you're looking on a show, you're putting a show together, you will have people that are coming from the definite content world, your engineers, your technician, your people working on the theater, working on the equipment, on the lift, on the sound, or same thing on a movie. You will have the technical people. On the other side, you will have your creative people. So these two environments are totally different. But you need to make a team bringing these two environments together, okay, and connecting these two worlds and making it work together and exchange and be part of the same kind of project. Not everybody's doing their own little project aside and you're trying to attach it, but they're part of the same thing, which is the danger if you try to do this, okay? For example, put the creative capital people into a world of best practice tools and techniques and process of the definite content. I don't say, okay, we got some great tools for managing the project, so you will need to enter your deliverables and do your schedule. You're going to ask that to the creative capital people, you're going to have a clash. Okay, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to create that environment where they're just going to sign up to it. Okay, so again, you will have to be able to connect these two pieces by creating these interface and accepting to work in what I call the agile world by iteration. This is where you will see, for example, in the creative content, people will work by iteration and being able to accommodate these iteration within a larger plan that is more like in the traditional way. Again, let's use an example of a theater. So all the deliverables related to the technical aspect, like the sound system, the lift, the theater construction, anything that is related to construction, building, sourcing, will be on a traditional project management plan with a project manager. Anything that is related to creation will be on iteration. So, for example, the director of creation will not work on the project plan. They will work on, for the next 2 weeks, this is what we're going to be working on. I want you to change this. I want this act to be on stage, or I want to be able to shoot that scene and that scene. And then the next 2 weeks, we're going to, at the end of these 2 weeks, we're going to review what we have. And the next 2 weeks, we're going to plan the next 2 weeks, and etc. And this mode will be called the hybrid mode, where you have a traditional type of project management plan and you have an iteration plan in the middle, and these two needs to work together within their own environment. That's why it's different. And that's why you need to follow our project management training for entertainment professional if you want to be able to work with both worlds. Okay, this is a fundamental difference, like I was saying at the beginning. And sometimes, people from the creative industry, they go on a training in a project management and they get disappointed because they sit there and say, this is not the way we work. We don't do our creation this way. Especially if you're in a video game, you're mainly purely agile, but also you have a portion also that is, let's put it this way, traditional, that needs to be happening, because you're not working only within your own studio. You're working with other vendors and distributors and marketing and purchasing, and all these guys, they work not in agile mode or in iteration. They work in traditional mode. So of course you need to be aware of these two. So that's why we have created this training, which is going to allow you, if you are from another sector as your project manager, at least to understand the difference. And if you are someone who wants to learn project management and work in entertainment, that course is for you. Follow the link below.